Hello, everybody. My name is Sam, and this is the first evidence. This is the first episode in English. Please excuse my English as it is my second language. It's not my first language. And this is the first evidence. So let me start by I'll give you like a small brief about this channel. So it's an Arabic channel that basically talks about religion. I'm an ex-Muslim, so basically you can call me an atheist, and we are kind of the positive atheism. So most likely, I'll be saying like stuff that maybe does not make sense to you. But again, I want to apologize for my English. I will try to be better in the future. So I'll do my best to get you to the story as short as accurate as I can. For the first episode, first we want to let you know what we do. So basically, as I told you, First Evidence is an Arabic channel that talks about religions and beliefs. And for different beliefs, we do have to criticize the idea of some people thinking that there is a superpower, supernatural power that basically out there in the space or I don't know, in the universe, behind the universe. That's the first idea. It's basically a claim that most people are religious people. They will basically claim that there is like a god or there's like an entity, like a supreme power, a supreme being, that basically he's the one who communicated with human beings here on earth, and then he delivered a message to them that those people, those are my prophets. They will be they're my messengers. They will carry the message that I want from humanity. Basically, they need to follow. So there is like such commands, and you're gonna have to follow it. Otherwise, you're gonna go to hell. So I'm not going to speak about most of the religions like around the world, because there is more than 4,000 gods, and there is even more number of religions and beliefs and ways of belief. Because even if you are like, let's talk about the main three. I'm sorry, I'm calling the main. To me, they are the main because I come from the Middle East. So we have Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So for the Abrahamic religions, the people basically thinks that this God, which is Yahweh, I'm not gonna say like Jesus, like the Holy Spirit, Allah. Those kind of this is the same. They think that it's the same God. The basically is the commands that this God gave to the human to follow, so they will be saved and back into heaven again, as we were created in heaven, or God created human being in heaven like Adam, with clearly like a simple mud and water, so dirt and water that and a human being raised. And they claim so many things into those books that, like in Judaism, like Old Testament, we will see that we call it Tanakh. Tanakh, that's the name of the book. They said that God created Adam from mud, but he took his rib and created Eve, so she would be like his companion. But at the same time, he created evil, figured by like a snake or something like that. In Christianity, it's not too different, because they are basically the basic of their beliefs comes from Judaism, but Islamic beliefs took from Jewish people some of their doctrines, and they also took from different religions the other mythology, and they combined them into growing into it to be like a new religion, where basically God created Adam the same way, and then he created he gave Adam Eve, which is his wife, our companion, and there was no snake in the story. There were like a demon, or they call it Iblis. It's one of the falling angels. That's in Quran. So you see, like even like Abrahamic religion, which is basically consists of the same guy, Abraham, they are different in beliefs. So can you imagine how many people, like Muslim people, they have different beliefs as different Christianities. Christian people, they have like different beliefs, and even Jewish people, they have different beliefs. So if you gather all of them together, you'll find there's something different about them. The idea of discussing religion is not going to start this or now. It's a very ancient idea that started like long time ago. And if you just do your research, you'll find most of the things that you see in front of your eyes or you hear like from other people. I'm talking about religious people. I'm not talking about extremists, or we will talk about those people later. But if you just take a look at those people, religious people, those people cannot be like, cannot support any of their beliefs by evidence. There is no materialistic evidence on any of the stuff, like Moses. Who's Moses? We don't know. There is no history of this guy. There is history of such character and figure that was like in old ancient Iraq, Mesopotamia. He had the same story. He was born before Moses, probably like 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years before Moses raised in Judaism. And the Christian believes of Jesus, the same figure has been repeated many times. I'm going to say at least like 12 times in 12 different mythology, 12 different stories. As in the Prophet Muhammad, is the Islamic prophet, he was the one that basically was created from like out of the blue, just because those people who created religion, they want him to be like as a hero, a war hero, or some guy who united the Arabs in the place where they call Saudi Arabia right now. He was the one who united them, and he was the one who were able to invade most of the Arab countries there and reach to Andalusia and then reach to China. I'm talking about like spreading of this religion. But the basics, if you look at every religion, there is basics that you can find in ancient history, ancient civilizations. It's not easy, but it's there. You can see it. You can basically test it, like the clays, like the Sumerian, the people who invented writing. You can find like a clay tablets. They mentioned the story of creation, but the story was so different. But every religion got the same basics from this story. So I believe if you can take your time, just take a break, relax, and think of it as if someone is telling you a story, and you say like, oh, like I think I did hear this story before, but I think that you got different names. But it matches more in the details of the creation, like the creation of a human being, basically made of mud. And I talk about clay. They're made of clay, and they're created of clay. And then they said, the religion claims that the Lord, the God, or the God, basically put his spirit into this clay figure, and it became a human being, and it was like created this way. But the same story in ancient Sumerian, I'm talking about Mesopotamia here, they said that the Anunnaki, which is their gods, and Anana, the lady god, like Anu is the male god of Anna, which means sky. They are the one who basically ordered the Anunnaki, which is basically the angels of the sub gods, to basically create some kind of figure of a slave made of clay, and they will use blood and spirit of an old ancient beast. They gonna put it together, and they will create human beings to be slaves to work in Eden Garden. Now, how unfortunate is that Eden is a real place in history. It's in Iraq. So Eden Garden is in Iraq. And it was mentioned by Sumerians, Babylonians, Akkadians, Assyrians, those people who lived in the first civilizations. We know about those people because writing started that time. So in those episodes, we're basically going to take you to the history of religions, but we're going to take it to we're going to talk about it in a different way. Talk about from a perspective of some guy. I'm an ex-Muslim, but I did read the scripture of like Torah, Tanakh, and the Bibles. And you can tell the different translations of Bible because we are not reading the original copies of the Bible, as the Bible was never was written in Arabic or in English. It was like a different language. Even the Jesus, if he was true, like as I'm talking about, he's a figure, a divine figure. So he did not speak this language, the one that we are reading the Bible with. So he's talking with a different language that the disciples wrote the Bibles with different languages also. Although there is no solid evidence that there was like any of the disciples wrote any book. So we don't know if those books are written by the disciples themselves, if the disciples were there, if he was crucified or not. We cannot say like we know. No one can absolutely know that. So we cannot be absolutely sure that this story happened. We just read what we got in our hands, books and papers, and none of them from that era. Like if you're talking about 2,000 years ago, where the Christ was here, we cannot say that the Christ is this guy that they explain in the books of the 4 books of the Bible, like the main books of the Bible. We cannot say if this guy was the divine, because his mother was a virgin, and she would never have any kind of sexual contact with anyone, and yet he was born from a bone and flesh, like a human being, like every woman. If she got an intercourse with a very, very healthy sperm, and she got like a fertilized, egg, let's say or an ova, you will get the reaction of getting a baby. But it needs 2 sets of chromosomes, like male and female, to combine together to create this human being in the future. I'm talking about like 9 months, 7 months, whatever. So it's illogical. It's not even like close to logic that some lady will be carrying a kid without having a sexual intercourse. I'm not talking about sexual intercourse as in sexual only. No, it has to be fertilizing the egg. without being like receiving any sperms from a male. So we are going to talk about this logical or those logical things. We'll put it like in we'll try to provide evidence or evidences, like more than one, of the stories that we are basically considered to be the history of religion. What do we know? What do I want from this? Like, why do I make this kind of episodes? First of all, I made this in Arabic, and it's very easy because it's my mother tongue. So I'm a native Arabic speaker. So in English, it's a little hard for me because I want to explain the things to you with a shortage of my words. I'm not like a great literature, like as in using words. So please excuse me if you do not understand what I'm saying. I hope you will get the general idea of it, of some guy who's talking about such thing. You might get interested in, because I know everything about Islam, and I can explain the things to the people, how this religion is based on, it's a myth. It's based on a myth. It's basically not logical to believe that there is some guy, like a human being, who flew over like a flying donkey to the space and went to heaven, which is basically after the space that we can see with our own eyes. He did not wear like no mask. It did not go into a spaceship. No, he used like an animal called Buraq, and he traveled not only space but traveled through time, because everything happens with a blink of an eye. That even the Muslim people, they will say that they think it happens for real, but other people thinks it happens in dreams. But the people say is that no, he did travel with his body and spirit, and the other people, still Muslims, say that he traveled with his spirit only. Those kind of things, it does not make any sense. When you talk to some other people, telling them that there is a guy who basically left the gravity of Earth and went into the space, not just any space, not between here and the moon. No, we are talking like deep, deep in space. Which, no, a lot of people now, if you're listening to me, you know that there is no such thing faster than the speed of light. And just if you are traveling by the speed of light, you need billions of years, of light years. I'm not saying like billions of Earth years. You would need billions of years just to get to the other side of the universe. We don't know. Because the scientists, when they said like, if you are taking a look at our view, like our small angle of view to the universe cannot exceed 4%. We cannot see more than 4%. We don't know what's beyond 4%. That would be the thing to make you realize that we don't know. So it's very noble of you if you say, I don't know. Like when I started this episode, I said like, guys, I'll try my best to speak in English. I don't know if my English would be enough and great for you. Probably some people will say like, he cannot even talk. Yes. But I mean, like, this is my way of expressing myself to you. I'm not going to be lying to you. If something I don't know, I would say like, I don't know. But the claim of creation, of the existence of God, if you ask any religious person, he would say he do know. There is nothing that they don't know. Everything is there. Then when you come and examine their books and examine their religion, examine their claims, you will find something illogical or unlogical just to talk about. Like, I'll tell you what, only in the fourth day in the Bible, I'm talking about the Old Testament, only in the fourth day, some astrological something in space, I mean, happened that it does not make any sense, which is night and day. Now we know that night and day it does not exist in space. Night and day is a perspective of our Earth to the sun. So if the Earth is not like spinning, if it's not spinning, we would not have night for a very long time. Like let's say like a year. Probably it's gonna be like a year if the Earth is not gonna be spinning. If it's steady, only steady, then one side of the Earth will be sunny, the other side will be in dark. And dark is not created as Islam claims that God created light and the darkness. No. Darkness is basically the absence of light. When there is no light, it will be dark. So you cannot say that I created dark. It does not work this way. Or like Muslim would say that God created shadow. Shadow. He created the shadow. The one that when you're talking and when you're moving your hands, you see something basically from the light source. Behind that object, you'll find a shadow. They claim that God created the shadow. And to prove it, he just put the sun, just to prove that he created the shadow. I know probably some of you have never listened to this kind of thing before. If you're not Muslim, so you're not aware of those things. But this is the thing I'm trying to explain my old religion to people because of three things. First of all, I saw a lot of people which they are extremist. And I'm talking here about extremism. I'm talking about people who are taking the opportunity. I'm not going to say opportunity. It's very bad. Who they took the claim literally. They're basically killing people every day because they think those people needs to go to hell. That's what their book's saying. The book is saying that you can kill those people. And that's the thing I don't want. I want to expose those people. I want to expose the origin of their religious beliefs. And I will explain it to you how everything does not make any sense if you are really a Muslim or if you're a believer. But I'm going to be specialized in Islam as I used to be one of them. I was raised in a Muslim house, raised all my life to be a religious person, and no one can even get closer to my beliefs, as I respect and love God, and I would respect and love the Prophet and the Messenger, and the angels from the sky, or whatever they called from heaven, and the stars are falling on earth. There's a lot of Muslim people will explain and interpret those words of Quran, of ayat, they call it ayat or verses. They will explain it and interpret it in a different way. You'll find like 1,000 books talking about interpretation of Quran, the exclusive interpretation, but the words, they have meanings. So if you concentrate on the meanings and then you try to realize if those people who just believe that Islamic Quran, it's the word of God, who basically sent at the end of 14 centuries ago, he sent to human beings, and then he was silenced forever. The God was silenced forever. We do not know where he is. If Even he or she, that's what they claim as Muslim. But if you call the God she, they would be upset. They would be upset because you cannot describe God as a she, but if you say he, they will not object. It's like this is a kind of discrimination, like against sex. I think they call it sexist. So when you call him, it's okay. But if you call her, they don't like it because they hate women. And we will talk about it. Is that how religion came to enslave some people? How they're treating women with disrespect, and she does not mean anything. The only thing that they want from a woman is basically to be an incubator. She would be like a sex, I'm not gonna say like it's gonna be like a bowl. Like she would be like a sex container for the newborn. She would be the slave of the guy who basically own her, which is very legalized in Sharia law, that a man can own a woman. She would be his property. It's a property. It is, not she is. In Islamic world, she is not there. She's not a person. It is. It's like a property. You can basically buy and sell and own and then collect. And then if you don't like them, you'll let go of them, whatever. And then you can basically exchange. You give to your friends. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I know that's some information that will be shocking to you. It's really like unbelievable that some people will be talking about this thing. But trust me, it's there. And I have every evidence to show you from the original books. Who basically, you got, if you're Muslim, you got your Islam from those books. Because you've never met the Prophet. You've never met the Messenger. You've never met like God. So how did you get Muslim? How did you become a Muslim? You inherited your religion. And I'm not talking about Islam as in Islam. No, I'm talking about all religion. If you're a Hindu, if you are a Christian, if you're Jewish, if you're like a Yazidi, if you are a Kakai, if you are any kind of religion, ask yourself one question. How did you become this kind of person who carries that kind of beliefs? There is no revelation that you've never seen one. Like you don't know the revelation of the Quran, if it was true or not. It's a claim. So basically you learn from your family. You learn from your history, basically from books. So every book that you are reading, or sometimes you don't even read, you will just follow your parents. If your parents were Muslims, you'll probably be a Muslim. Like a 95% you're a Muslim. There is no such thing as 100%. There is no such thing. I would never say it. We cannot say like absolutely sure, 100% sure that this guy would be like this. We cannot. So we can just say that he's most probably be a Muslim. If you were born in a Jewish house, you are, like she can be, Jewish. And Christian, the same thing. Hindu is the same thing. So basically, you cannot choose your religion. You will be born with it, just like your name. Well, you can in the future, you can change it, but then changing names is very easy. Changing beliefs, it's really hard, because once you reach that age of you are realizing things and analyzing words and stuff, I would say you'd be like between 15 and 17 years old. And can you believe that you're 15 years The people who raised you gave you bits and bytes of stuff like in their religion. Like you will be like 7 years old, and then there is Eid al-Adha, or which is the big Eid, the big holiday for Muslims, which is basically, and they will tell you that they would need to sacrifice like a sheep or a cow or whatever, and just like give this meat to the poor people and stuff. It's beautiful, right? But they will tell you, when you start asking, why are you doing this? They will say like, oh, because our prophet Abraham, he wanted to kill his son Ishmael. بالعربية إسماعيل. And that's the Muslim version of the story. But when you go to Judaism, the story is different. It's a different version. So when you tell them like, what's the story? They say like, oh, wow, well, God told Abraham that he should kill his son Isaac. What? Isaac is Abraham's other son. He's the younger brother of Ishmael. If we consider Abraham was a real person, they'll both know, like Muslims, they both know, and even Jewish people, they know that Abraham has two kids. One of them called Ishmael, the other one called Isaac. So Muslim chooses Ishmael to be the one who is basically the father had a dream about him, and he saw in his dreams that he's basically cutting his throat or killing his son. And then he told his son, like, son, I just saw in my dreams that I'm killing you. And then the Quran says, Ishmael says, Dad, please do whatever that the Lord commands you. Really? You call this like a religious, what is this? Is what kind of way? What is the information that I got from this? Is that you be slave to your father when he wants to kill you? And then Abraham, he really wanted to kill him, his son, his begotten son, even Ishmael or Isaac, even one of them. And then God says, stop, do not kill him. Really? Why? I mean, like, you led him to this point that he's basically following your command blindly to kill his own son. And they said like, no. Don't kill him. Why? Because I'm going to give you a sheep. Why you didn't do it in the first place? Why do you want to create this kind of drama? It's like a theater. You're creating like a movie. It's like a cartoons. You're creating something and said like you're just manipulating people into getting to know you because you're no one. So you need to create more drama so the people would be basically following you. The guy is already following you. Why do you want to do it like, oh, it's a test? Muslim would say, oh, it's a test. And Abraham did pass the test. No, he didn't. No, he did not pass the test. Abraham was really lunatic, crazy. If this guy was true, like as a human being, I mean, like as a true figure, like he's a real person, and he tried to kill his son because he heard a voice in his head, he's crazy. He's cuckoo. So, test? No. There is no test. If you think there is a test, then you are basically delusional, just like Abraham. If you think that you were created, I'll ask you several questions, and please answer them, and you can write in the comment. Like, if you were created as a human being, right? So you will basically, God created on his image. So basically you're telling me God is like human beings. Because you said like, God created you on his image. That's one. But you can interpret this as much as you want, because probably you will interpret it into a different way. But anyway, so if he created you like this, why did God create the belly button in the first place? If God created Adam this way, like with a belly button, just like you, what was the use of that belly button? So Adam was connected to what when he was created? Because you have a belly button and it has to be in your genetics. It has to be in your chromosomes. There is no way that somebody's going to create something and then you will add it later. Like, oh, okay, we'll get the human to be upgrade 2.0 version, come with belly button. You see? It's very funny, right? But this is the truth. So if you are basically a believer of any kind of religion, you have to believe that you were created and your big father or grandfather called Adam, and Eve was his wife. And then what? They were living in heaven. Of course, like heaven in Muslim and Judaism is completely different. Heaven in Muslim is up. We don't know where it's up, but it's up. You can look at it like it's up because God says, get down. So it means it's up, but we don't know where up. Either the Judaism, they would say like, get out. It's here on earth. So they are the concept of even heaven and the creation of Adam and Eve between two religions, they basically have the same root. They're completely different. There's even no comparison between the both religions except when enslaving people. Oh, they will get along. You can enslave people. Yes, sir. You can enslave women. Yeah. Can you sell women? Yes, of course. We can sell women. Why? Because God gave us the privilege of selling women. How is that possible, sir? Well, it's easy. God says that you can marry 2, 3, and 4. The probably is that they're using and. So you can marry 2 and 3 and 4. All right, so those are 9. And then whatever comes to your property of women, because they're property, they call it milk al-yamin. Whatever your right hand owns is basically the milk al-yamin, is that basically any number of women that you basically desire or you can basically afford, you can, I don't know, sleep with, have sex with. They will be your slave. You can sell them. You can make profit. Oh, by the way, they used to do it until 1963. Oh, I forgot that. 1963. 1963. Can you believe that? So basically, there is pictures of slaves of Milk al-Yamin. There were like specialized shops, markets to sell slaves. So human trafficking was literal. They were literally like selling people. So you can buy a lady, you can buy like an old guy, you can buy like a young kids, and for each one of them they have a name. They can name them. They will give them characteristics, so you can differentiate from the name what you are buying. So if you say Jariya, it means the young woman slave or a kid. So Jariya, it means the runner. She runs. They call it Jariya. And when you called Ghulam, that's the young boy that you can buy and sell. And then if you say Amma, it means like an adult woman that you can also own. By the way, everything you own, you can sell. And you can sell with profits, and you can basically let go. You can let go with free, like no, no one, or she can buy herself out if she wants, if her master wants to. So she can basically work anything else, and I don't want to say what she could do to get their money, but I believe you can basically put the idea in your mind, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Or somebody else would give her the money, and she would give it to you, and she would basically release herself from slavery under you to be his slave. Wow, amazing! Thank you, God, for the gift. I really appreciate it. And it is in, if you don't know, in the Old Testament, it's Exodus 21. You can just read it. Al-Khuruj 21. Or you can read this thing in Quran, and how the Prophet, the Messenger, Muhammad of Muslims, how he said that if a slave ran away from his master, God and angels will basically put damn on him, like they would curse him if he does not return to his master. Wow. And I know like a couple of Muslims who speaks English. They would say like, no, there's no such thing. Yes, there is. And just because you are Muslim speaking different language, it means that they did not give you the whole truth. The truth was not in English. That's the thing. So I speak the same language as they claim the Prophet was talking. So no matter what you read, I know even if you're reading Quran in Arabic, I know that you do not understand the meaning of it. Because just like me, I can read English, but I'm not going to be like that good in literature, like in English literature, like William Shakespeare. I would never be like this. I can be, maybe one day, but I would never be as someone who is basically, this is his own language. This is the mother tongue of him. This guy was born, or this lady was born in such way, like in a family who speaks only literature, English. She would be writing better than me, and probably I'm very old in age, and she's very, very young. And those kids can write better than me. Absolutely. Maybe. They can speak, at least they can speak better than me. They know more words, they more vocabularies than me. So they can use the right one. So when I speak about Islamic religion, I come from the culture who speaks the same language. And when I left, I was not Kafir. I became Kafir. I was mu'min. I was a believer. Kafir means some like disbeliever. It's a kind of like a, as if like I'm dishonest of being Kafir. Kafir means that you don't believe. And what is the punishment of Kafir? Of somebody who does not believe in Islam? Oh, yeah. You will be beheaded. They can kill you. Really? Yes, they can. No, Muslims, they don't do that. No, they do that. It's in their books. Just because you met like a nice Muslim, it does not mean that he does not have it or she have it in her book. Probably they do not know it exists in their books. So my help comes here. So those kind of episodes are going to explain to Muslims who are not from Arabic origin, because the Arabic origin I'm already doing in episodes in Arabic, they know what I'm talking about, but the people who basically went to Islam and they do not speak the original Islamic language, the Arabic language, they do not understand it. So those kind of episodes that I'm doing on this channel in English, they will be basically dedicated to you. You would learn what about the history. I will interpret the words literally. I'll read from different resources and different books that explain the thing to Muslims, and I'll read it to you and I'll tell you what are the things that you are basically missing, or the people just hid it from you. So you would consider Islam is the peaceful religion. It can be peaceful, but then you cannot call it Islam, because Islam is a different religion. And if I want to talk about Islam, it will be like an endless episode, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about the history of religions. We're going to start how the people start believing in, as I'm going to explain in a few minutes. And we're going to talk about how the mythology basically moved and shifted from civilization like Egyptian civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, and then combined together to create new civilizations in the middle, mixing the beliefs of the creation by clay, mud, and spirit with Horus, the god who will weigh your bad and good deeds, and he will either take you to the great life after life, or he will pull you down to hell, where you will live with your sins forever and ever. So they combine them, and then we're going to talk about this kind of combination between religions and even the development and the evolution of God. Even the name Allah and Elohim and Yahweh or Yahweh, those names, they're basically derivatives of the same name in Mesopotamia. Like Adam. Adam basically is a Sumerian name. It consists of two syllables, A and Domo. The real name is Adamo. And this is Sumerian. A means sky. Domo means sun. So they call him the son of the sky. And it would mean the son of God. The name Adam is basically two syllables. That's not an American or English name. That's a Sumerian name. So I am from Iraq. I am from this civilization. So can you imagine the best and if you're the first time who listened to Adam, you said like Adam for you is the first creation. But to Middle Eastern, Adam is like an English name. It's like Adam. Or like an ancient old English name. I'm saying English. I'm sorry. I'm just saying the English as the language, not like as a British. No. It's like an old English name that was said. It's basically Sumerian. Adamo consists of two syllables, A and Domo. A is the sky, Domo is the sun. So when you combine them, you will find that it's the son of sky or son of God. So it's interesting when you start learning about Muslims talking about seven skies. Seven skies. And then you'll be shocked when you read the Enuma Elish, the book of creation in Babylonian. The Babylonian book of creation called Enuma Elish, that's the story of creation. And you'll be shocked when Marduk, the big god, fought Tiamat. Tiamat is like a flying dragon over the surface of water. And he put 7 layers of air inside it. And then just divided into 2 halves like earth and skies. Wow. Is it the same one is in Quran? When they said وَكَانَ عَرْشُهُ عَلَى الْمَاءِ, his throne was on water, or the chair, the throne, where the God would be rest, is on water. Is this the same one as Tiamat? Tiamat was on water? Or if you read the Bible, وَكَانَ عَلَى وَجْهِ الْغَمْرِ ظُلْمًا, and there was like water and it was dark. They're talking about the same story that was basically stolen from Babylonian civilization, and before that it was evolving from Sumerians of the god of creation. Instead of Tiamat, it was Tiama or Tuama. It will get evolved. The story was evolving until it reached to a guy who basically, Moses is Sargon the Akkadian, Sargon al-Akkadi. He is the one who was founded in a basket floating on the river of Euphrates. They just did it in different place because the people who wrote this story, they did not know that one day this big world will be like a small village with internet and reading. You can read a book with just a click. You can read a book on the other side of earth. Right now, you're listening to me. You live in a place that you don't know where I am, but you still can listen to me. And that's the thing that they could not believe. Until like a few centuries, if you tell someone that you are going to talk to someone on the other side of the earth, and instantly they would laugh at you and call you crazy. But yet, here we are. We are going to expose everything to you in those simple episodes, and I hope with my simple English, I will try to explain the things to you. Hopefully, you are going to, or we are going to understand that we want only one thing. I want you to be a human, to treat other people unjust. And I don't care if you are a guy or a girl. To me, you're human, and I'm going to have to treat you the same. I don't care if you are rich or poor, because to me, you're human, and I'm going to have just to treat you the same. So please, don't forget to, you can criticize, you can give me the thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever. Just explain to me if you give me a thumbs down, why did you do that? I would like your like and subscribe, and put everything in the comment if you like the content. Because what I'm doing here is basically I'm trying to save my kids in the future. That there is no extremism or no extremist of any religion can hurt my kids or your kids or me or you just because of a certain beliefs that they would think that they can go to heaven if they kill a human being. With that said, I want to thank you all for joining me in the first episode. I'm not really sure when it's going to be the next episode. I will do my best to do that. Please, I would really look for your encouragement. If you do encourage me to do more episodes like this, I'm going to be going to dive deeper into religions, and I'm going to take every religion, I'm going to put the stories, and I'm going to compare them to Islamic and Christianity and Judaism with old and ancient and pagan, probably, mythology or beliefs that was on earth like probably a couple of thousand years ago. I need your help and support. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel and write a comment if you can. This is Sam, And this is the first evidence on the first episode, the history of religion. I hope everybody will be in a good health when we meet together the next episode. Have a great night. Thank you for listening.